Good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to be learning our fretboard. Everybody loves this fretboard memorization series that I'm doing, so I'm going to keep this one going strong. We're going to be doing octaves today, but before we get to these excellent exercises that I have mapped out for you, I just real quick want to tell you that you should join the Fretboard dojo at musicandguitarlessons.com, anywhere from $2 a month. You can also check out some cool coffee mugs and stuff that I have on musicandguitarlessons.shop. Check out my music theory book, all my other books, and let's get started. The whole point of these is so that we all get better together. So today we're going to be mapping out our octaves, and we're going to be quizzing them for about an hour. And then next week we're going to further that knowledge even further. So if you're not familiar with this series and you don't really know what's going on with your fretboard, you can definitely start at episode 1. This is episode 5, and this is going to go for quite a long time. Good morning, Sander, good morning. All right, guys, so the first thing that I want to show you are our 5 main octave shapes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my sheet music up on the screen, and we're going to find all kinds of notes and then find every single octave associated with each one of those notes. So this is going to be a one step at a time process. Remember, these octave shapes are going to be movable. So let's start with shape 1 and then work our way through shape 5. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my reverb pedal for this. As to why, I don't know, because I just like reverb. So our first octave shape, I'm going to be showing you this with the note C. So our note C is here, third of the A. Our octave shape, so an octave is when you go up to C again, higher, right? So we have C up to C. This first octave shape is our A string to B string, and we have a fret in between our fingers. So there's octave shape number 1. Octave shape number 2, if you go off of the same C with your index, you can get your third finger on the 5th fret of the G to get octave shape number 2. Octave shape number 3 actually has 3 octaves in it. We're going low E up to G, so that's the 8th of the low E up to the 5th fret of the G. Right, so we have pinky to index, low E to G with 2 frets in between. And then the same thing, you just move your pinky to the high E. So that's our octave shape number 3, right? So octave shape 1, A to B with 1 fret in between. Octave shape number 2, we're going A to G with 1 in between, but this time the index is back at the back of the fretboard. So we have our octave shape number 2, and then octave shape number 3. Next, we're going to do octave shape number 4, so we're getting E up to our D string with 1 in between, and we also can grab the high E. So octave shape number 4 also has 2 octaves involved with this. And octave shape number 5 is your D string up to your B string, and there are 2 notes in between. So those are the 5 big octave shapes. These are really important to know because you can fill these in with intervals, chords, scales. I mean, these things are really your building blocks. Sorry, my microphone kind of went out of whack for a second. Let me just, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the sheet music up onto the screen now. I'm going to show a note, and I'd like you guys down in the chat to tell me what note it is, and then to find all 5 octave shapes involved with that note. We're going to go one note at a time. We're going to do quite a lot of these today, guys. We're going to be doing this for between 45 minutes to an hour. So have your guitar, have a cup of coffee out. This is something that's going to take a little while. So, of course, we just did C, right? So what I'd like to do is now move this C up to this note. Let me know the note down in the chat. Good morning, Bev. Good morning, Bev. And what we're going to be doing is finding all of the octave shapes associated with this. Keep in mind, there are 5 of them, and they're movable, right? They're movable. So Here we go, guys. This is the note F. So to start, here in first position, we actually have octave shape number 4. So we have F, low E up to D with one fret in between, and then we can also get the high E up to, or high E down to D with one in between as well. So here's our octave shape number 4. Then we can get octave shape number 5, 2 frets in between from your D string up to your B string, just like so. Then we can get octave shape number 1 that we saw with 1 fret in between, our A string up to B string. After that, we can get our octave shape number 2, which is 1 in between going from our A up to our G, right? So this is 8th fret of the A and 10th fret of the G. And then our octave shape number 3, 13th fret of the low E. Then we get our 10th fret of the G, and we get 13th fret of the high E as well. So to just run you through that one more time, we have first and third, and first for low E and high E, there's octave shape number 4. And then after that, we're going to get octave shape number 5, so third of the D and 6th of the B. After that, octave shape number 1, which means, and these all occur in order, guys, so it's always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We started on 3, so 3, 4, we started on 4, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So what we're getting here is 8th and 6th, A up to B. After that, we're going to get 8th and 10th, A up to G. And then we get 13th, 10th, and 13th. All right, so let's go ahead and move the note. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to find the octave shapes associated with the note on the screen. Get your guitar out, try to find them, and then I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the note that we have here is A. Our first octave shape, or actually, rather, this is octave shape number 2, is open A, and you can actually kind of pretend that we have our index here, right? The nut here, you can pretend it's a finger, and our 2nd fret of the G. So of course, if that's octave shape number 2, then what's next is octave shape number 3. So we get 5th fret of the low E for that A, and then 2nd of the G here. And you can also grab the 5th fret of the high E. Remember, octave shape number 3 has 2 octaves involved with it. After that, of course, if it's 3, we're moving up to 4. So we have our index on the A here, and the 3rd finger here on the D string. This is 5th to 7th. And then we have 5th up here on the high string as well. So we have A for octave shape number 4. Good morning, Nerfiana. After that, if that's octave shape 4, then we have octave shape number 5, which is the 7th of the D up to the 10th of the B. And finally, that brings us to octave shape 1. You'll recognize that shape there, 12th of the A and 10th of the B. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is move the note, and we're going to see what comes up next. You guys tell me what the note is in the chat, and then try to find each octave on your guitar that is associated with that note. And I'm going to give you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is a B. The first octave shape that we're going to be using is actually the first octave shape. Now, it involves the open B string and the 2nd of the A. You can see it kind of has that octave shape 1 because I'm pretending my finger's back here, but we have our 2nd fret of the A and open B. After that, if it's octave shape number 1 that we just did, and we want to move to octave shape number 2, which is A to G with one fret in between. So that is 2 and 4, A string to G string. After that, of course, would be octave shape number 3. So we're going to get the 7th of the low E and the 4th of the G. And we can also grab the 7th of the high E. Moving on to octave shape number 4, we have 7th of the low E, 9th of the D, and 7th of the high E. Moving forward from there, we're having octave shape number 5, which is our 9 to 12, ninth of the D and 12th of the B. So that covers all 4 octave shapes for that note. Let's go ahead and move our note. I'm going to give you guys a few moments to tell me what note this is down in the chat. Of course, these videos are intended that you get your guitar out and you actually try to find this stuff. This is not music entertainment education, even though some of those channels are really great, like Adam Neely and stuff like that. This is me actually walking you through what to do to memorize things. So you need to have your guitar out for these guys. Okay, guys, this is G. G. Now, the first shape for G that we run into is our third shape. So we have third fret of the low E, as well as open G, and then third fret of the high E. So anytime the octave shape involves an E string, remember that it's going to involve both E strings. That's why we end up with the two octaves there. So after octave shape number 3, which we find in first position here, we're going to get octave shape number 4. So remember, these always occur in order. So this is low E, 3rd fret, 5th fret of the D, and high E, 3rd fret. So that's our octave shape number 4. Moving on, that gives us octave shape number 5, which is D, the 5th fret, as well as the 8th fret of your B string. Bringing us around to octave shape number 1. So we're going to stay on that 8th fret of the B, but then we're going to get our 10th fret of the A. Octave shape number 1, and then octave shape number 2, 10th fret of the A, and 12th of the G. And as you go through these, you'll start seeing that these shapes are very, very movable. Very movable. Okay, guys, we're moving on. I'm going to move the note, and you guys are going to take a few moments to take a look, try and find these. Again, the important part is that you're actually getting your guitar out to find these. Again, this is not me just giving you quick tips. We're actually going through an actual real memorization session. In 5, 4, 3, 2, this note is E. So the first E shape that we run into is our 4th shape. So it involves the 2 open E strings. So you can imagine the fingers here, right? And we have the 2nd of the D. So we have open low E, 2nd of the D, and open high E. That's octave shape number 4. So that's next means that we have octave shape number 5. So 2nd of the D and 5th of the B. Even if we're cycling through, next that's going to bring us to octave shape number 1, which is 7th of the A and 5th of the B. After that, octave shape number 2, which 7th of the A and 9th of the G. And finally, that brings us to octave shape number 3. We'll get our 12th fret of both E's, right? And then our other E, of course, is on the 9th of the G. Remember, these octave shapes are so important, guys. You can put all kinds of chords and scales and stuff in there, which we're going to do soon in this memorization series. But I'm not one to skip steps. I want to make sure that we memorize every interval individually. We're also going to memorize intervals and their inversions before we move on to chords and things like that. So tell me what note this is, guys, down in the chat. Of course, get your guitar out, find them. This is all about actually getting some knowledge by the end of the video and being able to do something that you weren't able to do before. And in this case, we're finding all our octaves, which are very, very, very handy to know. Okay, so this note is D. We're going to find our 5th shape as the first one that occurs on the guitar. Open D to the 3rd fret of the B. Now, if that's the 5th shape, next is going to be the 1st. So then we get our 5th of the A and our 3rd of the B. Next would be the 2nd shape, 5th of the A, and then 7th of the G. After that, 3rd shape, which gives us our 10th of the low E, 7th of the G, and 10th of the high E. And the E's are always going to match each other, right? After that is octave shape number 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 10th of the low E, and then 12th of the D, and of course 10th of the high E. Thank you, Sonny. I really appreciate that. He said great stuff. You know, this memorization stuff it's key. I wish my teachers would have brought me through this. They always focused mostly on playing the pieces. And I had one teacher in particular that helped me quite a lot with understanding that I needed to do this stuff. But actually doing it is another case. All right, guys, let us know what letter we have here. And then we're going to run through all the octave shapes. Of course, you need to have your guitar out, going through this stuff. Tomorrow, if you guys have any big questions, tomorrow is my dojo hangout. I'm going to be doing the dojo hangout once a week for a while. So join the dojo. It starts at $2 a month. Okay, guys, this note is C. So we're going to start with octave shape number 1. This is 3rd of the A and 1st of the B. Then that brings us next to octave shape number 2, which is 3rd of the A and 5th of the G. Octave shape number 3 is going to give us 8th of the low E, 5th of the G, and 8th of the high E. Number 4 is 8th of the low E, and then we're going to get 10th of the D and 8th of the high E. Remember, the E's are always going to match frets. Good job, John. John French. And after that, our 5th shape, 10th of the D and 13 of the B. All right, guys, let's introduce some accidentals into the mix now. So what note do we have here? And let's start finding all the octave shapes of it. So let me know the note, which one it is, down in the chat. And then we're going to run through each and every octave shape. I'm going to take a moment to take a sip of this delicious coffee. Of course, I have the I love classical guitar and I love music theory mugs on my musicandguitarlessons.shop. Okay, guys, this is F sharp. So F sharp, we're going to be starting with our 4th shape. So it starts with the 2nd fret of the low E for our F sharp, then 4th of the D, and 2nd of the high E. Now, if that's our 4th shape, of course, next is 5th. So that's going to be 4th of the D and 7th of the B. Now, we're cycling through, so next is going to be our shape 1, which is our 9th of the A and 7th of the B. After that, shape 2, 9th of the A and 11th of the G. And then we can get shape 3 after that, so we have our 14th of the low E and our 11th of the G and 14th of the high E. All right, guys, I'm going to move the note on the screen and give you a few moments to find this. Find the next one. We're doing oopsies, accidentals. This is going to take us all around the fretboard. We'll be doing this for probably another 40 minutes. Okay, guys, let us know what this is down in the chat. I'm going to give you the answers here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, we have an A flat here. So with A flat, we're going to be starting with our 3rd shape. So you get A flat on the 4th fret of the low E here, 1st fret of the G, and then 4th fret of the high E. After that is shape 4. So we have 4th fret of the low E, 6th fret of the D, and then 4th fret of the high E. Now, if that's shape 4, of course, next we need shape 5, which is going to be 6th fret of the D, and then 9th fret of the B. Shape 5 cycles around to shape 1. So we have 11th of the A, and then we have 9th of the B. And shape 2 after that, 11th of the A, and 13th of the G. So as you can see, these shapes, they cycle 1 through 5 all the way up the guitar neck. All right, guys, let us know the note down in the chat. Every Tuesday this summer, we're doing fretboard memorization. And each session's about an hour long. So you guys, if you guys want to see my music education schedule. You can check out the community tab on my channel. I just posted it up. This summer is going to be full of a lot of really great stuff. I'm also finishing up my color fretboard music theory book, guys. Or I don't know if I'm finishing it up yet, but I'm like 100 pages in. And it might be a 2 or 3 volume type of thing. Okay, guys, so this is a C sharp. We're going to start with shape 1, which is our C sharp on the 4th fret of the A and C sharp 2nd of the B. After that, we can move to shape 2, C sharp 4th of the A and 6th of the G. After that is shape 3, so we're going to grab 9th fret of the low E, 6th of the G, and 9th of the high E. Remember, those E's are always going to match each other. After that is our 4th shape, 9th of the low E, then we get 12th of the D, and of course 9th of the high E because those always match each other. After that is our 5th shape, so that's our 11th of the D and 14th of the B. I've always thought in letters and never in fret numbers. Doing these series has actually made me better at the fret numbers. I always just think just letters, and that I find that comes in handy because sometimes you have to retune your guitar and then you have to retune your thinking. So always think letters, guys. I'm saying the fret numbers just because I don't know of a different way to do it. But you really want to think more letters than fret numbers. You know, you want to get more of a notational mind rather than a tablature mind. All right, guys, let me know what letter this is down in the chat. I'm going to let you know the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have B flat here. Now with B flat, in the first position, we start with shape 2 because we have our 1st fret of the A is our B flat, and then 3rd fret of the G is our B flat. So if that's shape 2, the next is going to be shape 3, so we get 6th of the low E, 3rd of the G, and 6th of the high E. After that, we can get shape 4, which is 6th of the low E, and then we're going to get our 8th of the D and 6th of the high E. If that's shape 4, then next is shape 5, which means our 8th of the D and our 11th of the B. And we have one more shape to go through, so we're going to get shape 1, which is 13th of the A and 11th of the B. Octaves are a lot of fun, by the way, guys. I mean, so one thing that you can do, and I'm just going to take a moment to kind of explain this, and I'll play like a little bit for you. Maybe I should turn my reverb down. I can't really hear my effects. I just have it turned on because I like it, but I can't hear it. It's going directly into the computer. So, for example, something that is really, really fun to do. If you have the key of G major, and let's say you know all your octaves, and you're in the key of G major, then you can make those octaves interact with your open G string in a really fun and cool way. So, for example, if we're going to grab our G octave in the 3rd shape, well, maybe you know your G major scale, so we can do G, A, B, C. And that gives us a cool picking pattern. Or even do it in a different order. So anyways, Urbano, hello. Okay, guys, we're going to do another note here. We're going to be going to this note. Let me know the note in the chat. I'm going to give you guys the answer here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, G sharp. Much like with the G, we're going to be starting with the 3rd shape. So this is the 4th fret of the low and high E, and then our 1st fret of the G. Now, of course, if that's shape 3, the next one's going to be shape 4. So we get 3rd, and then we're going to get 6th and 3rd. So 3rd of the low E, 6th of the D, and 3rd of the high E. Next, bringing us to shape 5. That's our 6th of the D. And then we're going to get 9th of the B here. And of course, next we're going to need shape 1, which is 11th of the A, 9th of the B. And then shape 2, which is 11th of the A and 13th of the G. Good job, Bev. So I'm saying it wrong. It's John French or John's French. I'm not sure how to say it, but good job to Mr. John. All right, guys, let's keep moving. Let me know the note down in the chat, and then do your best to find all of the octaves associated with that note up the fretboard, all 5 shapes. Remember, these shapes are so ridiculously important. You can put all kinds of chords, intervals, really cool things inside of the shapes. These are your building blocks for a lot of things, guys. So these are very, very important to know. This is an E flat. So E flat is going to start with shape 5. So if we have shape 5, that's 1st of the D and 4th of the B. Johnals. Okay, sorry, Johnals. You'd be surprised how bad I am at reading names, but I'm trying to get to know everybody that shows up for the live streams. So I will know the name better next time. So we start with the shape 5. And of course, that's going to cycle us around to shape 1, which is going to give us our 6th of the A and 4th of the B. After that, shape 2, we're going to keep that 6th of the A, but now go to the 7th of the G for the E flat. Oh, John is French. Sorry, buddy. My bad. After shape 2, we're going to go to shape 3, which is our now my mind is erased, 11th of the low E, and then our 7th or our 8th of the G. And after that, we're going to get shape 4, so keeping that 11th of each E, and then 13th of the D. Okay, let's change the note that we're talking about here. What is the note? Let me know down in the chat. Do your best to find all the octaves, and then I am going to show you the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, A sharp. So starting with this one, we're going to be starting with shape 2. So our 1st fret of the A and 3rd fret of the G. You'll notice these are kind of the same octaves as B flat, but don't confuse A sharp for B flat because A sharp belongs in different contexts than B flat. So there's shape 2. Shape 3 is going to be 6th of the E's and 3rd of the G. Shape 4, 6th of the E's, and then we're going to be doing 8th of the D. Shape 5, 8th of the D, and then 11th of the B. And then, of course, shape 1, 13th of the A, and 11th of the B. How you doing, Thurston? Thurston was one of the first persons to leave me comments on my video, so I remember his name all the time. All right, here we go. We're going to be doing one without accidentals. So let's go ahead. If we do the same one a couple times, it's okay, guys. You know, learning music and getting to know your fretboard is all about the repetition. Let me know the name of this note down in the chat. I want you to try and find all of the octaves, and I am going to give you the answer here in just a couple moments. Of course, tomorrow we're going to be doing the Dojo Hangout. It's Google Hangouts. I'm going to be giving the link to all my Dojo members. You want to stop in on your webcam and ask me some questions. I'm just going to be hanging out, drinking coffee, and I will have my guitar in my hands. I'll have my electric, acoustic, and my classical out. So everybody that's a Dojo member will be able to drop by, and we're up to about 35 or 40 now Dojo members, which is super cool, guys. I really appreciate the support. So this is G, and we're going to be starting with our 3rd shape. Of course, 3rd of the low E and open G. Then to get to the 4th shape, we're going to be taking the same 3rds of the low E, but now we're going to be using the 5th of the D as well. Then our fifth shape, fifth of the D, eighth of the B. Then our first shape, 10th of the A, 8th of the B. And our second shape, 10th of the A, and 12th of the G. Thank you, Anver. Thank you. I appreciate it. I couldn't do this without all my students, so you guys make it just as possible as I do. So let's take a look at another note here. We've got, let me know what note this is down in the chat. I'm going to show you the answers here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have D sharp. Much like the D, we're going to be starting with the fifth shape here. Now, of course, these cycle through. So after that, we get the first shape. So the fifth shape was first of the D, fourth of the B. Now, the first shape is sixth of the A and fourth of the B. The second shape, we're going to keep that sixth fret of the A and add in our eighth fret of the G. And then after that, we're going to get our third shape, which is the 11th, I almost said 12th, the 11th of the low E and high E, and the 8th of the G. And then our fourth shape, those 11th frets, and our 13th of the D. All right, guys, I'm going to get another note onto the screen. We're almost running out of notes here, so we may not even make it to the 45-minute mark because we're getting some good memorization done. We'll get close. All right, guys, let me know what note we have down in the chat. Try to find the octaves before I show you. Next week, so last week we did thirds. Today we're doing octaves. Next week we're going to do sixths, and then I'm going to show you how to invert thirds and sixths to find all of your octaves, which is a really cool trick. Then we're going to get into fourths and fifths and sevenths and seconds. We're going to go through all the intervals and then start going into chords after that. And at about that time, my color music theory book should be out, which will be a great reference for you guys. Okay, guys, so this is G sharp. This is going to be fourth fret of the low and high E, as well as the first fret of the G. Now, you can also go to, that's shape 3, by the way. Now, shape 4, you're going to get the same low and high E frets, the fourth, but now we're going to get the 6th of the D. 6th of the D. After that, we're going to get shape 5, which is 6th of the D, as well as 9th of the B. Then shape 1, which is 11th of the A and 9th of the B. And then shape 2, 11th of the A and 13th of the G. So that's our G sharp octave. Remember, guys, there are 5 shapes. If you're just joining us now, check out the beginning of the video so that you have a clear view of what's going on. Name this note for me, guys, and then let's find all octaves associated with this note. So not necessarily just that fill in the blank, but it's also the lower octaves, the higher octaves, just every octave associated with the letter. I'm going to give you the answer here in 5, 4, 3, 2. This is F. So we're starting with our fourth shape here. We're going to get first of the low and high E, and then we can get third of the D. Third of the D. Now, moving forward, if this is our fourth shape, next is, of course, going to be the fifth. So third of the D, and then 6th of the B. 6th of the B. And after that, of course, we're going to circle back around to the first shape. So then we're going to be getting the 8th of the A and 6th of the B. Second shape, 8th of the A and 10th of the G. And then third shape, we're going to get 13th of the low and high E and 10th of the G. Third shape's a stretchy one, guys. If you can get the third shape to work anywhere, you got a pretty stretchy hand. Okay, guys, let's do a handful more. Name this note for me, and then try to find all the octaves before I give you the answer here live on air. Tomorrow, if you guys have any questions about this, of course, you can leave your question down in the chat, too, and I'll do my best to get to it by the end of the episode. But tomorrow, we're doing the dojo hangout. Okay, guys, this one is E. E. Now let's find all 5 octave shapes of this E. We're starting with the 4th octave shape, the 2 low and open high E's, and then our 2nd of the D. So if we started with 4 there, we're going to want to move to 5. So we get our 2nd of the D and our 5th of the B. Circling back around to 1 is our 7th of the A and 5th of the B. 2, 7th of the A and 9th of the G. 3rd shape, we're going to grab 12 of the both the low and high E, and then our 9th of the G. All right, guys, we're going to be moving forward. What note do we have here? What note do we have here? This is a B flat. So we're going to be finding all of our B flats. 1st of the A, 3rd of the G for our shape 2 for B flat. So next would, of course, be shape 3. So that's 6th of the low and high E, then 3rd of the G. After that, shape 4, 6th of the low and high E, and then we're going to get the 8th fret of the D. 5th shape, 8th fret of the D, and the 11th fret of the B. And then our first shape, it is 13th of the A and 11th of the B. All right, let me take a quick sip of this coffee here, guys. All right. Also, if you guys need help with counting rhythm, I just put out my long rhythm counting video, which everyone should check out. You can clap the exercises and get much, much, much better at your guitar by being able to count rhythm inside of you here instead of just here. This is where the music is, guys. If we had some sort of like event where human beings vanished from the earth, none of the guitars would play. This is where the music is, guys. This is where it is. So you need to learn how to count without just doing it on the guitar. Okay, guys, this is D sharp. We're going to get our 5th shape, and we're going to do one more after this. 5th shape, 1st of the D and 4th of the B, and of course 5th is going to cycle around to the 1st. So then we get 6th of the A, 4th of the B. After that, we're going to get 6th of the A and 8th of the G for our 2nd shape. After that, we're going to be getting the 11th of the low and high E, as well as the 8th of the G. And then our 4th shape, 11th, and the 11th of the low and high E, right? And then the 13th of the D. So let's do one more, guys. We're going to do one more, and then a couple announcements, and I will ask you to enjoy your day as much as I will. Okay, guys, let us know what note this is down in the chat. Try to find the octaves, and then we're going to wrap up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, this is F sharp, starting with shape 3. So this is 2nd of low and high E and 4th of D. After that, we're going to be getting if this is our 4th shape, we're going to get the 5th. So we get 4th of D and 7th of B. After that, if that's the 5th shape, then we're going to get the 1st, and we're going to get the 9th of A and 7th of B. 2nd shape, 9th of A, 11th of G. And 3rd shape, we're going to be getting the 14th of the low and high E and 11th of G. So good job today, guys. Remember, this series, I'm going to be doing this for a while, where we go through and just memorize the heck out of our fretboard. If you are new to this series, go to episode 1. Of course, this is episode 5. I start with just the layout of the fretboard, and I think episode 1 is 2 hours long. 2 hours of just learning the layout of the fretboard. So if you struggled with this at all, go to episode 1, work your way through. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be doing another one of these. And I think I might start incorporating prizes sometime soon. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm going to be doing the dojo hangout tomorrow to all my dojo members. Dojo memberships start at $2 a month. Anybody can afford $2 a month. And then, of course, my dojo heroes pledge $25 a month, and they get my books in the mail as I complete them, as well as discounted private lessons. And private lessons help quite a bit. I spent a lot of money on my private lessons, and I want zero refunds because it was the most valuable thing in the world. I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, getting private lessons really isn't all that worth it." Well, it isn't worth it if you don't have a good teacher, but if you have a good teacher, it's really worth it. So check out the dojo memberships, guys. Check out Music Theory in One Lesson on Amazon, as well as Rhythm Made Easy and my 100 sight reading exercises. Guys, this is a lot of fun. Get that guitar out, get to practicing, and on Friday, we're going to be learning some more classical guitar, some Carcassi. So a lot of exciting stuff coming up, guys. Have fun.